On a day like this, an ice cold beer is hard to beat. Hi, I'm Jordan Carter, and today we're at Uncle Buck's Brewery and Steakhouse in Grapevine, Texas. They say the beer here is excellent, and we've got a thirst to quench, so let's go inside and check it out, shall we? Wow, this place is amazing. You step into Uncle Buck's, and you get that rustic feeling of being in a hunting lodge. A lodge that serves tender, mouth-watering steaks, succulent ribs, and fantastic buffalo burgers. Now, I can't deny that steak looked great, but today we're all about the suds. And here at Uncle Buck's, they brew their own delicious brew right on the premises. By the looks of things, I think we're in the right spot. Beer is as American as apple pie and baseball. Even founding fathers George Washington and Thomas Jefferson brewed their own beer. Even though we like to claim it as our own, beer's been around for 5,000 years to the time of the Sumerians. Coming up, we're going inside the brewery to find out how world-class beer is made. Stay tuned. Today, the U.S. is the largest brewer in the entire world, producing over 6 billion gallons per year. Now I have joining me Ryan Robertson, the brewmaster of Uncle Buck's in Grapevine, Texas, and he's going to school us in the way of brewing beer. Hey Ryan, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So, what made you become a brewmaster?
Well, first of all, I really like beer, but more importantly, it amazed me the broad range of flavor profiles and possibilities that exist with beer. Most importantly, American beer styles, as far as the craft brewing industry. Basically, there are beers that I guess inspired by other countries, Germany, Belgium, that kind of stuff, that have this long brewing history, whereas here in America it's very young, so we don't have these strong traditional brewing trends. So there's a lot more freedom.
Since we're talking about American beer, can you go ahead and give us a history of?
Well, basically, you had all these immigrants from all over the world, obviously, who came here in the very beginning, and they brought all of their brewing traditions with them. Mm-hmm. So most of the styles, mostly German. So a lot of lagers, and I guess there were lots and lots of small breweries as well as big breweries back then. So you had a big diversity of beer, like we do now. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, during Prohibition, only the large breweries survived. Right. So they were the only ones left standing.
You know, what type of beer do you brew here?
We brew mostly ales, which is a more robust beer. Ales are top fermenting. There's a top fermenting yeast that ferments at a warmer temperature. Because it ferments at a warmer temperature, it's going to create more byproducts of fermentation. Right. So you're going to have a lot more flavors, a lot more complexity, a lot more going on in your clean, crisp, smooth lager.
Can you go through the process of making beer?
Absolutely. First of all, we start with malt, which basically is a processed grain. They take the grain and they basically start the germination process to prepare the enzymes in the grain, so that when we mash in, we can set the specific temperature to convert those starches into sugars. Okay. The bulk of the grain that's going into the beer is base malt, which is where most of your fermentable sugars are going to come from. Mm-hmm. And then you have your specialty malts. For example, the Redhead Ale, we use a crystal malt, which they basically, it's the same process in the malting, but they let it go further to start to produce the sugars, and then they actually kennel those grains, which caramelizes those sugars, giving different degrees of intensity of caramel flavor as well as color. So, and that's where the color is actually going to come from in the beer, from the grain, as well as your potential alcohol. So basically, more grain you start with, the more sugar there's potentially going to be produced. Right. Therefore, the more food there is going to be for the yeast, so potentially more alcohol. Right. We do an IPA, which is very popular. I mean, any brew pub you go to, most craft breweries, I mean, that's the big thing. Redhead is definitely a style that you would find more often in a brew pub than in a production brewery. And then our light beer, of course, we gear towards your Bud Miller Coors drinkers. Okay. It is very light. It does still have some flavor, though. It is fresh. It's not pasteurized, and it does not have preservatives in it. Definitely feel that makes a huge difference. Step up from that is our blonde ale, which is to appeal to your Pilsner or lager drinker, something along the lines of somebody who would drink Heineken, Stella, something like that.
Right.
Something a little more robust than your Budweiser or your regular Miller, something like that.
Well, what would be the definition of a Pilsner?
Pilsner started, I guess, Czechoslovakia and then kind of spread to Germany. Basically, once the technology increased to make lighter colored malts, people started making straw or golden colored beers.
Okay.
Definitely not too heavy, nice, refreshing, crisp. The original Pilsners have a lot more hoppiness to them than what you would find as far as your Bud Miller boys.
Okay. And so would you say that Americans really don't like that hoppy taste? They like a little bit smoother taste, a little bit...
I would say there are a whole lot of people who go for that, and there's a whole lot of people who want something different. They want something more interesting. They want something robust. So there's a huge culture of craft beer in the U.S. right now.
So it's not even necessarily that Americans like one or the other. It's just depending on individual taste and what they're wanting.
It seems that even over the past several years, the craft brewing industry has just kind of blossomed. There's tons and tons of really interesting breweries here that basically make beers that rival anything brewed around the world.
Okay.
But it seems there's much more interest now. You see a lot more specialty food stores.
Right.
People are more interested in different types of wine. I think it's just a cultural change.
Just people maybe are being a little bit more accepted to it.
They're kind of going away from mass-produced, sort of thing. Something that's kind of geared towards everyone's taste, not anything that's more individual.
Okay.
Plus, natural, fresh. Like I said, not pasteurized, no preservatives.
Yeah. What would separate Uncle Buck's from other breweries or maybe breweries around locally?
When I came in here about a year ago, they had asked me to basically rewrite the recipes, go away from the previous company, go in a different direction. Basically, what I wanted to do is kind of go more robust into the styles on the beers. I want something more interesting. We do the light, we do the blonde, we have a Hefeweizen, which I'm a big Hefeweizen fan as far as lighter flavor profile beers go. Okay. But really thought it made sense from what I kind of seen in the area to push a little bit. All right, well the brewery's right here. Why don't I show you around?
Hey, sounds good.
How high is your brew IQ? Find out next.
So this is where the magic happens.
Right this way.
I hope you had as much fun as I did learning about the world's favorite alcoholic beverage. I encourage you to try many different types of beer. It's an adventure that can take you across the world to many fascinating and exotic locations. Now remember, have fun, but be responsible, please. Until next time, I'm Jordan Carter. Thank you for joining us.